Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Abundance Tree Podcast. I'm your host, Janice Luke, and I'm
April
here with my
Capri.
co-host. Repeat it again.
April
April
Capri.
Capri is in the
Janice
house.
Luke. Abundant Street
We in the
Podcast.
house.
What's up, everybody? How
How
we
are
doing
you
today?
doing? Good. I'm doing great. I'm digging those earrings. I love them. They're
Thank
nice.
you. These oversized tubes, you probably can't
I,
see them. Thank
I
you
love
so
it. I love
much. I
it.
am loving this red. It's giving me life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we have a bomb guest, y'all.
Super
So
bomb.
yes, you're going to want to take notes. So get your pen and paper for real.
Please
So
get your pen
April,
and paper for real. She's dropping
yes,
some good jewels.
tell us
Her
who it
real
is.
estate journey began when with a profound moment in 2018 when her mom fell ill. So at 53, she was feeling an urgency to make a transformative change. She dove headfirst into the world of real estate investing. Now she is an active voice within her real estate community. It's called Win Win Women TV. And her defining moment came in July 2020 when she seized an opportunity acquiring a bank-owned property for only 20,000, knowing that it could fetch 50K after COVID restrictions. So basically she could make a profit. However, out of nowhere comes the capital gains tax. And that's what prompted her to um, the revelation of business and beneficial Spendthrift Trusts. And I'm going to let her explain that. So that reshaped her investment approach and illuminated new possibilities in wealth management. Now she stands as a testament to adaptability, seizing opportunities, and continuously evolving in the ever-changing landscape of real estate and finance. We have Miss Sally Gimon.
Yes, I think it's Gimon, but yeah.
Is it
Please join.
Jimmy?
No, I think it's Sally Gimon.
Is it
Sally Gim.
Gimmon? I'm
I
gonna have
think
to ask
so.
her. I should have asked her.
Hey, hey,
I just call her
Sally.
Sally. Sally!
Hello.
Is it Gimmon?
Is
Sally
it
Gimmon?
Gimmon or Jimon?
Correct. Given. Yes.
It's Gimmon.
Gimmon.
Girl, I messed it up.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Sally Gimmon. I should have asked you that. I just called you Sally. I apologize.
How
Correct.
are you?
I'm doing excellent. How are the two of you?
We're
Doing
doing
well. Thank
great.
you.
So we're excited to have you on our podcast this evening. So welcome.
Well,
Well,
thank you for having me.
you have an
Absolutely. So
amazing story.
yes, tell us about your story.
My personal story starts back in October of 2018. I was living in Phoenix, Arizona. My mom and dad were retired in Goodyear, Arizona, about 20 miles west of Phoenix. My oldest nephew got married in Charlotte. My parents drove from Goodyear to Charlotte, and along the way, my mom got dehydrated and she got septic of the blood. Unfortunately, she got onto a ventilator for 13 months, in a hospital for 15 months. My dad and she stayed in the Charlotte area for 9 months. Scary time. I was working as a Medicare broker. October is open enrollment. I worked
Every
until 8
year.
o'clock every year. Yes, worst time of the year for him to get married for me. It's all about me, not him. I worked until 8 o'clock at night. I drove myself to Sky Harbor Airport, flew out on a red eye. My other nephew met me. Family tradition, when you come in on a red eye, we go to IHOP. Then we went to the hospital. We walked into my mom's hospital room, and the priest was giving my mom last rites. My world kind of stopped moving. Go to my brother's house, take a shower, go to a wedding with friends and family from all over the world. It was the weirdest day of my life, things like that. My parents stayed in North Carolina for 9 months, and I was going out to their house twice a week to do the mail because my dad had only planned to be gone for 2 weeks. In December, a letter with 27 pages thick from Medicare was my mom's first statement for being in the hospital on a ventilator. My dad was retired military, so she was getting the best care possible, but it was $172,000. I'm standing in my parents' kitchen going, I have a mortgage. I have 2 car payments. My brand new car that was 3 weeks old. I was driving to work in October. Second car through on a green light on Indian School Road. Some idiot ran the red light, T-boned me on my passenger side, and I had to get a second car. I didn't have gap insurance. Silly Sally. I went from being okay to eating ramen noodles 3 times a week. I'm sitting in my parents' kitchen. I call my friend Glenn, who had invited me to a real estate meeting in August of 2018. He's like, Sally, we're having a Christmas party next Saturday. bring a $5 gift and some food. I'm going to introduce you to people. I don't know about you two, April and Janice, but going to a party where you don't know anybody, scary scenario. Best decision of my life. I went to the party. I started real estate investing. I was working as a Medicare broker. And in November of 2019, true story, we were doing a call campaign in Texas for a large insurance company. A woman who had to get a policy by the end of November, I called her. We talked about the policies in Texas. She calls me back 2 weeks later and she says, oh, I moved 4 miles from Texas into New Mexico where I'm licensed. Send a message to my manager saying, hey, she's got, I have to give her another policy. And he says, don't issue. She calls me back on November 28th because she's got to get a policy by November 30th. And I issue the policy. I'm licensed there and I got fired for it. Next day, I wholesaled a house and made $8,000. I didn't need my stinking job anymore.
That's what. Oh, wow. Wow.
So going forward, in April of 2020, my CPA calls me and says, you have to come to my office in Scottsdale. I have some bad news for you. In 2019, working full-time as a Medicare broker, I also wholesaled 7 houses, paid off all my debt, doing really well. He tells me in his office, he goes, you owe the federal government $79,000 in short-term capital gains. I kept it together. He got me on a payment plan, walked out of the office, went down to the parking garage and literally sat in my car and cried for a good 20 minutes going, $79,000. Where am I going to get this?
Right.
So explain
And
what is capital gains? Like, what is that? Can you explain?
yeah.
Capital gains are what the federal government charges you when you sell something at a profit. So when I wholesaled a house, like I was getting houses where, I don't mean to say this rudely, people were in trouble behind on their mortgages. I would get the house from them. And then instead of me doing the fix and flip, which I can't hammer a nail straight if you paid me $100, so I would wholesale it to a fix and flipper to fix that house. So that whatever I would make, let's say I bought a house for $100,000 and I wholesaled it for $150,000, that $50,000 in between is what capital gains are taxed. Short-term capital gains, there's 7 different tax brackets from 10% to 37%, 7 different tax brackets and 4 ways to file your taxes. I went from 22% tax rate in 2018 up to 32% tax rate because of all my wholesaling. And all of a sudden, my taxes became more expensive. So my great aunt Kitty, I love the lady. She always told me, sleep on it. You'll put something in your mind, sleep on it, and you'll come up with a solution. So I go home, get something to eat. I tell my boyfriend what's going on. We watch silly television because I'm upset. Next morning, wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I have to find that book. I found a book. A gentleman in my real estate group, Garrett Gunderson, wrote a book called What the Rockefellers Do. It's all about the Rockefellers Spendthrift Trust that saves taxes. And I'm like, well, if the Rockefellers can do this, why can't I do this? So this was April 2020. I started researching everything, and I found the private law firm in Texas that has a 72-year copyright on the trust. I became a client, and I said to the gentleman, I wanted to talk to other real estate investors in my real estate group. So I was the first female mastermind in my real estate group of 800 real estate investors. I started teaching them how to save capital gains, interest income, rental income taxes. And then in March of 2020, my coach for Thinking into Results, she's like, you guys start your own business. I now work with US business owners and 1099 income earners nationwide to save federal income taxes, again, tax between 10% to 37%, depending on your tax bracket. They will save at least 90% of federal income taxes. And if they're in a high state tax, I'm not making fun of people in Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Kentucky, Illinois, California. Janice, you're in Texas, correct?
I am in Texas, yes.
In April, you're in Georgia?
I'm in Georgia.
Georgia. I don't know. I know Texas doesn't have state income. I don't know if Georgia has state income.
We do have state income tax.
But if you got the trust and got everything in it, go to the DMV, get your cars in the trust, you don't have to file your state taxes, and you would save the state income taxes.
Oh, well.
I started my trust September 2022, both the business trust, because I have 3 online businesses, and then also the beneficial trust. And, you know, I'm getting to save over 6 digits in federal taxes and helping other people save taxes, because this is not taught in schools. People need to know about this, and it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. I'm so glad I took the time to research this.
I was
Oh,
just
that's
about
so
to say, because my
awesome.
head is still spinning. There's all
Yes.
these layers of taxes, and then there's, because you already have sales tax, state tax, federal tax, capital gain tax. It's just like tax, and then where are all these other
Wow.
taxes coming from, and then all these brackets. Yeah, it's confusing. Like, who knows that?
So I could tell
Correct.
you that me and April were in a mentorship program. We learned a lot about real estate moves, including like wholesaling.
They
And they
never
taught
said
us,
anything about that.
right, and they taught us about getting the money, like, getting your gain, like you spoke of your 50,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 after you
Right.
found a buyer, and
It's
then
all
that's your
about the
win.
Benjamins,
Right, that's your
not
win.
Uncle Sam.
And so all of
Exactly.
a sudden you're hit with this 79,000. So it's like the feds, they don't want us to be great. I'm like, so that is just, oh wow. And so
Yeah,
through
you
your
strong for
kind of,
only crying for 20 minutes. I've been crying.
right, exactly. And
I'll
so,
probably
Exactly.
still be crying.
I didn't know it would change my tax bracket. 22%, not that bad. Getting up to 32%, you're like, oh my gosh, I
wow.
paid off
Yeah.
a lot of debt. I was in a good place, but I'm like, I have to find another wholesale deal. I'm gonna have to do something. So
Yeah,
my
that's
CPA
significant.
put me on a 12-month payment plan. So I knew exactly what that's what I use whenever I do something. So one of my houses that I just did, just so you know about this, the first house I put into the trust was a bank-owned reverse mortgage. Purposely got it in North Carolina because my mom's in a hospital in North Carolina. I'm going to use my LLC to fly out to see the house so I can see my mom. I got the contract for $20,000 in July of 2020, middle of COVID. Everything shut down, but it was going to go for $50,000. That $30,000 spread in between, I would have to pay $7,130 in capital gains on that $30,000 spread. So I had it in my LLC. That was July of 2020. I started my trust in September of 2020. I had only do 2 very simple bill of sales. I actually Googled it, did one bill of sale from my LLC for the house in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, to me personally. And then the second bill of sale from me personally to the trust, drove to the bank. My banker, Jose, had to notarize it. I handed him $10 on the first bill of sale. So he marked it that there was consideration. When he did the second bill of sale, he hands it back to me. I go home, I scanned it, sent it to the attorney in North Carolina. I'm still in Phoenix, send it to the attorney in North Carolina. Next day, the attorney sends me an email and says, I need the first page of your trust. When that house finally went to auction, August 28th of 2021, it started at $50,000, went up to over $64,000. Yay, Sally. I made $44,000 on one deal. But more importantly, I saved $10,358 in short-term capital gains. I mean,
In
that was the
taxes,
first house in taxes,
it
correct?
was about to take $10,000 of your taxes.
Correct.
Off of the girl.
And that was just a
So
simple bill of sale to you and then to your trust, just moving the
exactly.
property over.
That is crazy. So if you didn't have that in place, that money would just be gone.
Correct. So the capital
That is
gains,
crazy.
because the house went to auction in August of 2021, I would have to pay that $10,358 April 15th of 2022. Because it's like a year later, because I had it in the trust, I didn't have to pay those capital gains. And so I had an extra $10,350 to do another real estate deal and another real estate deal and another real estate deal. It's
Rinse and repeat.
That's the idea,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
That's
That is
awesome.
amazing. Shout
That
out to
is.
you for taking the time to learn that and not let it get you down and just in a stuck space or in a space of giving up or quitting, or you know what I mean? Like, you really sat there and figured that out how to do it. Cause I mean,
Yeah,
when they say there's a will, there's a way. You found the
right.
way, I think.
Exactly. Well, the first page of the IRS tax code. Just a funny fact for you. I was an English lit major and undergrad. I don't know if you ever read Shakespeare, but if you line up all of Shakespeare's work, Romeo and Juliet, As You Like It, Midsummer Night's Dream, you line them all up. The U.S. tax code is 10 times the size of Shakespeare's work. Shakespeare is a lot more interesting to read than the U.S. tax code. So not making fun of CPAs or tax professionals. I'm dyslexic. I transpose numbers, but most CPAs work in the 300, 400 tax code and file 1040 tax returns for most people. The Spendthrift Trust, the current tax code was put into effect in February of 1913. Barron families, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Carnegies, the Kennedys, they looked out for themselves. They put this in the tax code way up at 643B. And if they can save taxes and US presidents can save taxes, my goal is to teach as many US business owners, 1099 income earners, and investors how they too can save taxes, because we're not taught this in school. I mean, this is information people don't know, unfortunately.
Right, you're absolutely right about that, and it's so valuable. So I'm hoping we suggested people get their notepads and take notes, and definitely go and follow Sally and have
Go
her
follow Sally. I'm
get
following
connected,
Sally.
because I'm gonna follow Sally. And so
Yeah.
you mentioned two types of trusts, and I've been researching trusts too, because I recently opened my holding company, and I'm about to open a few more LLCs here. And I'm gonna be, oh, thank you. And I'm going to be looking into putting them into trust. And the trust I've looked into is the revocable and irrevocable. So I don't know, is this similar or are they different?
The full name of the trust, and again, when someone contacts me, I send them an email with this, but it's irrevocable. So it goes generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
Complex, it can hold money day to day, week to week, year to year. Discretionary, whoever is the trustee can make the rules for the beneficiaries. Non-grantor, when you start it, someone who's not a beneficiary is going to sign up for the trust. They're going to be the settler, and they're going to be the trustee for 10 minutes. You'll need their social security number, and then they sign away. And then the Spendthrift Trust, that's been in front of the United States Supreme Court twice. Both times the Supreme Court has favored the trust. Currently, just so both of y'all know, 97% of all trusts sold in the United States every year are what my mom and dad had, and what Susie Orman talks about on public television, PBS television, is a family trust that avoids probate, then it dissolves. This is not your mom and dad's trust. This is the trust the rich people have. Again, just to give you an idea, if someone's a real estate investor and wholesales a house for $50,000, they're at 22% tax rate, filing jointly, and they wholesale a house for $50,000, they're going to pay $11,000 in short-term capital gains. So you do that twice in 1 year, you've paid for the trust, and it goes from generation to generation. For the business trust, if you don't mind me talking, what local pizzeria here in the Charlotte area, New York style pizza, makes the best white pizza. I don't know if you ever had a white pizza. I took a friend of mine. We went out door knocking in February, cold day. We showed up 2:00 in the afternoon, got a white pizza. We sat there, we chatted for about 2 hours. As we got up to leave, Roberto, the gentleman who runs the pizzeria, asked for my business card. A week later, I met him and his wife, Mary Ann, at the pizzeria. They're small business people, 2 pizzeria locations, making about $15,000 a month, $180,000 a year. At 90% savings of federal income taxes, they're going to save over $27,000 every single year. In 2024, they're going to take that $27,000, open a third pizzeria. And in 2025, they'll open a 4th pizzeria. And when they retire, they're going to leave 2 to one child, 2 to another child. The kids will pay no inheritance tax, and they too will continue to save 1099 income. So it's just, this trust keeps paying you back over and over again. Is an amazing thing.
Wow. Talk about generational legacies, building up for your
Yes.
family. Wow.
That's just mind blowing, because that's otherwise money that would just go down the drain, like to taxes. So this is that's through a trust. They're able to save that money on their taxes for their business.
They're going to save money. It's
so
legal.
Yeah.
It's legal, and it's going to help so many people. Like another example.
Definitely, yeah.
A husband and wife in California. The wife's a school teacher. The husband has a dental practice. We're taking the dental practice out of their personal tax. He has it in LLC, so they're filing the taxes with that. You have to do your K-1s on March 15th. We're taking the dental practice out of the personal taxes. I can't touch the wife's W-2 income. Unfortunately, that she'll have to continue doing that. They're going to save over $29,000 in federal taxes. Their joint taxes, their 1040 taxes go from 32% down to 24%. He's going to save over $29,000. And her goal, she wants to continue teaching until the end of school year, and then next year stay home. They have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. They're in daycare right now. She's like, why should I be doing teaching when I can be home taking care of my kids and save money?
That's
it's an
working
amazing
smart,
thing.
huh?
Wow. Are
Yes.
y'all listening to
Yes,
this? Are
ma'am.
y'all
Yes.
listening to this? This is
I love
incredible.
it.
This is
Exactly. Like,
incredible.
well,
That
like
is
April, you were
fire.
saying you were saying that you're doing insurance. So like if you're getting paid 1099 income, you could save so much money doing this. So exactly. I went out to Las Vegas. An insurance company they called me the day before and they said, can you get out here and do a breakout room? I talked to a small group. There was only about 20 people there, but the insurance agents who are making really good money, more than $75,000, that just give you an idea, if someone's making about $75,000, they're going to save probably about $12,000 to $13,000 the first year. Then the second year they'll save that money, the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year, and it just saves so much money. And people
That's
are like, how come
significant.
we don't know this? And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I read a book. That's all I can say.
Well, you know why we
Wow.
don't know this, because it's not going where they want us to go with us.
Wow, this is incredible,
That's
and I'm so
crazy.
proud of you, and I'm so glad that you read that book because you're going to be helping a
Yes.
lot of people. That's awesome.
I'm glad that you're sharing the information, and I wanted to ask, like, because we know we're in the time of the, the Corporate Transparency Act. A lot of people don't know about yet, and so, in all honesty, like I've heard of trust, but I never really, I don't have any beneficiaries, no children, not a whole lot of assets and stuff like that. So it never really, was something that I thought really made sense for me. But then when the Corporate Transparency Act came out, everybody's talking about, oh, the trust, the trust, to put it in the trust and put your business in the trust, and the trust owns everything. And so now, like, there's been more discussion about trust. However, like you were saying, there's so many different trusts. Like, can you kind of clear the air on the trust, how that ties
Right.
into corporate transparency?
So with this trust, it's going to save you in 4 very important ways. First off, federal taxes year after year, generation after generation. It's going to keep your information 100% private. Janice, you were talking about, you have LLCs. LLCs are statutory law or state laws. I can send a Freedom of Information letter to the Secretary of State or the Corporation Commission and get all that information. It's going to keep you from, I can't stop you from being sued, but everything's going to be in the trust. The old adage from Nelson Rockefeller, own nothing. Everything's in the trust. Someone tries to sue me, I'm worth nothing. It becomes a frivolous lawsuit. The Corporate Transparency Act that starts January 1st, this is from the Treasury Department. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but this is like a money grab by the US government. If you are currently an LLC doing business as or a corporation, you will have until January 1st of 2025 to do the paperwork. If you start a new LLC doing business as or corporation sometime in 2024, let's say January 15th, you have 3 months to do the paperwork. If you forget to do the paperwork, or if you're like me and you're a procrastinator and don't get it done on time, you could be charged $100 or 2 years in jail or both. They're going to put you in jail for not doing simple
$10,000
paperwork.
or
Did you say
$10,000.
$10,000? Wow.
$10,000 or 2 years in jail for paperwork. Okay.
Exactly.
Business
And then
owners.
if you do the paperwork incorrectly, so let's say,
Ooh.
not making fun of Janice, but let's say she does the paperwork for her LLC and she's missed something. If they don't get to the paperwork in 6 weeks and say, you missed something, they're going to charge you $500 a day, including Saturday and Sunday. So think of that, 6 weeks times 7. Oh God, you're going to make me do math. $5,600 in charges. And I'm going to be a conspiracy theorist.
A week.
What they're asking for is your address, your phone number, your driver's license number, your social security number, and your passport. I don't know about y'all, but I don't trust the federal government to keep this secure. How many times has there been a breach? If I'm a hacker from Russia or China, I have a passport, and nobody other than customs, nobody else knows my passport number. I don't want that be with my driver's license or my social security number.
especially with the brand new system that I feel like is not even there yet. You know, it's of course, you know, probably got a lot of kinks. I'm sure it does everything when it just comes out. You know what I mean? It's yeah, it's gonna be
Exactly. I mean,
crazy.
who it's going to hurt? It's going to be the small business people. You know, I'm not making fun of small business, but you know, someone who has an auto body shop, someone who is an affiliate marketer, someone who you know, is running their own pizzeria or something.
Real
They
estate
don't have,
investors.
Mhm.
exactly, they don't have the CPA telling them or somebody telling them this. And you know, it's part of the, it's from the Department of Treasury, and it's part of the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And true story, the law firm I work for is in Texas. The trust, the copyright is 72 years old. One of the trust attorneys goes to church with a senior vice president of a large national bank. I don't want to say what the bank is.
Right.
So in October, they're having coffee and donuts after church. The attorney goes up to the senior vice president and he goes, "Have you heard about the Corporate Transparency Act?" And he goes, "Oh, we're calling it the CTA because we have identified 1,000 accounts right now per week. We're going to send to the Financial Crimes Network, the division of the Department of Treasury. The only thing they're looking at is if there's a lot of money going in and out.
Yep.
The Financial Crimes Network is going to investigate that. If the Financial Crimes Network finds out that it is money laundering and seizes the assets and sell them on the open market, the bank is going to make at least 35% of that a sale price." And he's like, "Our shareholders are going to love this." I'm like, "Great for the shareholders, but bad for the small business person. I mean, this is not fair for the entire US economy is based on businesses of 10 people or less. I mean, they're the ones who are making the money, leaving legacies for their families." Well, one of my clients,
Absolutely.
this is a funny story. True story. I was at my brother has a brewery. We have music bingo on Wednesday nights. Sitting at the bar, talking to the guy next to me, because I talk to everybody. His father, do you know Schwann's Home Delivery, those yellow trucks that
Yes.
deliver frozen food?
The frozen food. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct. His dad has 4 routes in the Charlotte area. He's selling them very inexpensively, one to the gentleman I'm talking to, one to his brother, and then to his 2 cousins. I said, "This is my business card. Please have your dad talk to me." Because the dad was selling a business that he had had for more than a year, he's got long-term capital gains, either 15% or 20%. When we talked to the father and explained what was going on, he's going to save at least $72,000 in long-term capital gains. And his wife's like, "We're moving, they're moving from Charlotte to Wilmington to be near the beach." And she's like, "I could buy new furniture." And he's like, "No, no, no, no. This is going to be for our retirement." And you know, the kids, if they were going to take over these routes from the dad, they don't have to pay inheritance tax or anything like that. And I mean, the family, it's a family run business and they want to keep the money in the family. This trust can help so many people.
I was
That's
just reading about
awesome.
the death tax aka inheritance tax. I didn't know anything about that until recently either. I'm just like, you
Yeah.
can't
And
even die for free.
that's what we're here for. We're here trying to build legacies for our
Oh my
families. I
God.
know that's what I'm trying to do. And you spoke of conspiracy, but it makes you wonder,
It makes you
with the
wonder why all the big businesses are exempt.
yes. And so this is
Exactly.
well, the information
There's
is
so
so
much,
valuable.
there's so much information out there that people don't know. And my goal, thank you for having me on your podcast, is just teach people there is a solution. Maybe not for you today, maybe it'll be 6 months from now or 2 years from now, but there is a solution out there to help you alleviate your taxes. You know, true story, I drove up to New York a few weeks ago and I got on the New Jersey Turnpike. You have to pay to be on the New Jersey Turnpike. There were potholes bigger than my car. I'm
See,
like, "Why am I paying you money
that's
for this road and you can't fix the potholes?" My
Mhm.
clients are paying off their mortgages. They're paying off their cars. They're starting charities to help certain people. They're giving money to the charity they want to give money to. You know, I'm not saying the federal government's bad, but the rich families know this. Why can't just regular people know about this too?
Absolutely.
amen. Because we're spending our
Yeah.
wheels trying to work harder. And did you say that you saved them $72,000? Is that a year in taxes?
for the
Correct.
long term.
So
Yeah.
significant, that's life
So
changing, that you just, that they have that, but that like, just even for people that have W-2 jobs, you get your check, get $1,000 check, you may see 5 and some change, 600.
correct. Well, you just even if you're doing a side hustle, let's say you're affiliate marketer. One of my friends, do you know a company called Juice Plus?
Yes,
Rings a
very
bell.
familiar with Juice Plus.
Okay, I never knew about Juice Plus. They just had their meeting here in Charlotte. A
Oh,
friend of
cool.
mine, unalignable, invited me to their meeting. She's in Alabama. You know, she's got several different affiliate marketing things she does. She's making about maybe $100,000 a year. She started the trust. She's going to save a whole bunch of money. She's the trustee. Her 3 kids are in it. They're she's about 60. She's got 3 kids, and then her grandchildren. One of her grandchildren is 18 years old, and he's starting his own affiliate marketing company. He's going to save money because grandma put him as a beneficiary in it. And this is just to
That's what
help
I'm
small
talking
business
about.
people learn this.
So powerful. Y'all
That's what
take
I'm
note.
talking about. Generational wealth. Like,
Yes, get connected with
keep it going.
Sally. So Sally, please let our viewers know where to find you and talk about your website too. I know you have another website going on with maybe crypto. I need to know more about that. So
Correct. My website, if you go out to www.thetrustisyou.com, I have a free video you download. You can watch it on your phone. You can watch it on your computer. You can set up a free 30-minute tax breakthrough session with me. I'm going to give you 3 articles from Forbes. I'm going to give you a PDF copy of the book I read. I'm going to give you some information on the Corporate Transparency Act, because everyone needs to know this, even if they have the trust or don't have the trust. And I'll give you 2 pages of case law. I mean, a textbook that there are over 1 million attorneys in the United States. Only 4% of the attorneys are trust attorneys. A textbook trust attorney study in law school is called Scott and Asher on Trust, 5th edition. I tell people, tell your CPA about this, tell your financial planner about this, because I've had several people tell me this is completely false. And the trust I sell, the Benson Financial Trust, Paul Benson was a Harvard Law professor 72 years ago. He copywritten it. He in 72 years, none of his trusts have ever been audited by the IRS. One trust was investigated 7 years ago. A senior IRS agent looked at it, but they give you a certification. If any time the IRS questions this, they will defend you free of charge. It's easy. It's an easy thing to give because they've never been audited. And I'm not saying you have to go with this trust, but you need to research all your trusts to make sure. One gentleman I spoke to, he's just like, oh, I bought a Spendthrift Trust for $1,000, and he has 5 Airbnbs. What if he gets sued and someone takes him to court and it all falls apart? He could lose all his finances. I want to make sure people know what they're getting into, and I want them to be educated so they can make the right decision.
wow, so
I just
powerful.
want to hug you through the
I know,
computer.
yeah.
I just want to hug you. Oh my God.
Yes, that's awesome.
So much to talk about with
It
that. You are
is.
legit changing people's lives and keeping small business alive. And girl, I just want to hug you. I don't even have words anymore. Go ahead, Janice. I don't have any words.
So yeah, well, I want to know more about your other website too. I think did you call it gift giving, or I don't remember what you
Oh,
called it.
yes.
Yeah.
Right. I have another website, www.learnwithsallymarie.com. True story. My older brother named me after a cat, and my mom's from Ireland, and she's like, no, her name is it has to be Mary. So my full name is Sally Marie. Back in November of 2021, I read an article, 80% of Americans, so someone maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's a best friend, 80% of Americans have $90,000 in debt and are not saving 10% for retirement. I was a Medicare broker. I can't tell you how many people turning 65 are going to depend on just Social Security. Average Social Security is only $1,200. I don't know about y'all, but I can't live on $1,200. I like to eat nicely. That's all I'm
I
gonna
don't know
say.
about y'all, but I probably won't even get that by the time. by the
Agreed.
time it comes around. Which is
Exactly.
not that far, like I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying that that's not even guaranteed in the not so far future. So they're saying.
True story. I graduated in 1984. I was the last graduating class of my class. We had President Reagan's chief economic officer come in and talk to us, and he's like, "All you seniors out there, all you juniors out there, all you sophomores, by the time you turn 65, there might not be any Social Security." So I've always thought of that. That's one of the reasons I'm a real estate
They
investor.
said that at your school?
They correct. He came in to talk to us because we blew the budget. We weren't going to give the money to anybody, but he came to talk to us and said, if they don't change how they're doing things, Social Security
Oh.
might not be there when you turn 65. So with the gift giving, there's a crypto tree. It's one time, $10, 3 recruits, $10, $10, $10. And then this person gets 3 recruits, this person gets 3 recruits, this person gets 3 recruits. So it is a pyramid. Everyone's doing the same thing. But when you go through the 3 levels, you will make $19,980 just because one time, $10 and 3 recruits. Then that's step 2. Step 3 is how to pay down your mortgage in 3 to 5 years, or pay off your car in 2 to 3 years. Albert Einstein says compounded interest rate is the 8th wonder of the world. Those who know it make it. Those who don't pay it. The banks here in the United States call it amortization loans.
That's
The company I work with is called Unite Financial Freedom. They do this entire program for you, the Money Matrix, to show you how you can pay off your debt so quickly. Then use that money to do whatever you want. Step 4, if you want to become a real estate investor, I invite you to join my real estate group. And then step 5 of the circle of wealth is the trust. And again, I just got nonprofit status on this. And if you only want to do step 1 and step 2, be my guest. But there's so much you can be doing with this money. $19,980, pay off your mortgage, pay off your credit cards, pay off, get a new car, go on a family vacation. There's so much you can do with that money.
So awesome.
Absolutely.
That is so cool. So we have like a minute and 15 seconds left around that. So you need to let our viewers know where they can find you again, and drop your websites again one last time.
Real quick, it's www.thetrustisyou.com. Then www.learnwithsallymarie.com. My first and my last name are very unusual. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, on YouTube. I just want to help as many people as possible because I found the information. Yeah, I want to share it with others.
You're on TikTok as well, right?
Exactly.
Yes. So about 10 seconds, April. Final thoughts.
Oh, final thoughts, girl. You are awesome.
10 seconds.
Follow Sally, period.
Yes.
Thank y'all for watching.
Yes, y'all follow Sally.
Thank you, Janice. I appreciate you having me on here.
Sally, you're amazing.
Thank you for coming. We'll have you back on real soon.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Thank you for coming.
Have a beautiful day.
You too. Everyone have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.